If the people want it.
People want
That's
shit.
what he said.
You got, I think there's a handful of games left, and you guys are right in the thick of the race. Do you have to remind you guys to keep it, just focus one game at a time with some big matchups coming, or do you not have to do that? I mean, any reminders?
Oh, yeah. Well, with this one game, biggest game's the next game. You know, you're at the point where, you know, I said this one of the weeks in the past that, you know, this late in a game or a season or whatever, you make a mistake, then there may not be ample time to recover from making a mistake. And, you know, we don't have any margin for error, and our guys know that. So I don't think that'll be the case, but certainly we'll talk about, you know, the biggest game on our schedule, Cincinnati. We're not even going to mention anything else past that.
Bill, hey, how many games do you feel like you need with your full group hold to feel comfortable going into the postseason?
I would say, I don't know if there's a number of games, but as much as there is, which may equate to games, as much as it is, you know, just the day-to-day in practice and the games combined. I don't know what that number is, but we're at the point where I feel like we're getting right up against that number, so to speak. This weekend is a great sign because it's a Saturday, Monday game. Well, postseason is Thursday, Saturday, or Friday, Sunday. You know, conference tournament, no guarantee you're going to get a second game, but if you do, it's back to back. I think if you don't have confidence in doing that over an extended period of time, and to me, I've always said by February, but I never really thought what day in February. But, you know, we're no longer in mid-February. We're in the latter part of February. So it needs to start happening now. And you know, that's what we believe will happen. But certainly I think we're getting pretty much against it, where I would have the total confidence going into the second week of March, you know, knowing that we play together for a while.
And, expectations for Darryn to play tomorrow?
Oh yeah. I haven't seen him. Well, I've seen him. I haven't really talked to him since the game on Wednesday, because yesterday was an off day. But we met. It wasn't a total off day. We met and watched tape, but we didn't do anything basketball-wise. So we'll find out today. But we haven't had any issues in practice whatsoever.
Bill, I think you mentioned this. Obviously, I know you're not a doctor, you're going to say that, but you mentioned this before the flu-like symptoms that he had.
I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night.
He had not experienced cramping the 2 games before the illness, and then obviously it popped up in Oklahoma State. Is there anything that you guys maybe did differently? You saw anything differently?
Anything that we could have done differently?
Or had done differently those 2 games versus, you know, like what happened in the Oklahoma State game?
When you get sick, a lot of times I think that there's a chance that, you know, you lose weight, you lose strength. There's a lot of things that happen. That's you know, we're not going to divulge. So could that contributed to that? Absolutely. But because he did get through the 2 games prior to that without that. So yeah, that could certainly be it as much as anything.
Anything you learned from, I guess, how you guys handled the last Saturday, Monday pair of games at home that you can apply to these 2?
Probably not. I think that the last Saturday, Monday game, if I'm not mistaken, we played on Monday prior. So you had 3 days to prepare for the Saturday game, and we spent 1 day preparing for Arizona during that. We don't have that luxury this time because you're off on Sunday, you practice Monday and Tuesday for Okie State, you practice Thursday. Well, we didn't practice yesterday, we watched tape, and practice today for Cincinnati. Because if we'd have practiced yesterday, it would have been 8 consecutive days that we'd have to go in a row. So we didn't want to do that with our guys because they're playing so many minutes. So it's probably a little bit different in that it's going to be for the Monday game, it'll be all one-day prep, period. Whereas the last Monday, we didn't do that, but I'm not even, we play well tomorrow and are successful, I'll live with the one-day prep.
It may seem weird since Darryn's such a big topic, but how connected do you think this team is? I mean, the guys that are out there, and even when he is out there.
I think this team really likes each other. I think that we're getting more and more comfortable with each other and understanding each other and the talents of each respective guy. And the thing about it is, so much has been made of DP, but I don't believe so much has been made of that with our guys. Our guys like Darryn, and Darryn likes our guys. But however it's spun, But I do think this is a close team.
When you're looking at that, what's the biggest indicator to you of how connected a team is? Talking basketball, talking on the court.
Guys that will actually get on each other. Guys that smile when they play. And off the court, after you eat a meal, do 12 guys sit around and BS after the meal's over as opposed to getting back to the room? There's a lot of subtle things I think that happens. Can they as a group make fun of me as opposed to and joining in on the fun and that kind of stuff? Can they make fun of each other and not take it personal? To me, those are signs of a team that's got pretty good chemistry.
That last part, this team do that?
Yes.
Well?
I think well. The other day, Melvin and Paul, of all people, got into an argument during practice. Man, if you do that one more time, I'm going to knock, one of those deals. And then afterwards, Melvin going up to Paul saying, "See, I told you I'd beat you," right? Paul's like going, "You're a gnat on my back." But just joking around like that, because, which is, I think that's the way it should be.
And I also wanted to ask you, we got a little taste of it when he coached the game at Colorado, but overall, Jock and his first year and how that's gone, what his primary impact has been for your team this year?
Yeah, I think he's been great. And just so you know, he coached that game in Colorado. I'm not going to downplay Jock, but Jeremy's our associate head coach.
Right.
He coached that game in Colorado because for 2 hours we had to win a game, and he has more experience than what Jeremy does. But he's been great, and the players love him. But I think there's a connection between Tony and our guys too. I think there's a connection with all our staff and our guys. So I'm very pleased with our staff.
Bill, just kind of building off that, when did you know that this team's connectivity was a little bit different than some of the other teams you've had in the past?
See, I don't really, other teams that we've had in the past, I don't know that I would say it's been different, except I don't think that last year's team was as connected. But I will not say other teams in the past. I mean, but last year's team wasn't quite as connected, in my opinion, not because of any other reasons than they liked each other. We just had too many interests last year. Whereas this year, Melvin's a 24-year-old kid that comes in here and he's thinking of one thing: ball. Other guys can be a 25-year-old, 6-year senior, and they're thinking of life after college. There's just a different thing. But those guys last year liked each other, but it wasn't the connectivity through the game that really made them like each other, where I think this is much more of that.
Coach, just talk about the challenge of going up against Cincinnati's size and athleticism.
Well, their defense efficiency, I think, is rated 11th today nationally. They can guard, and they're extremely long up front, and they're very quick in the backcourt. They've got a good team. They're a better team than what their record shows, and of course. Miller and Chom are probably as long of guys as we have on the same team in our league, at least that I can think of off the top of my head. So they create problems, especially on the defensive end. You're not going to score easy against them. You're going to have to run good stuff.
With Marco playing 28 minutes in the last game, what have you thought about the kind of the role that he's carved out for himself, and what do you think about his performance in that one?
I thought he was the best player we had in the game. I thought he was great. And when things got a little bit hairy there in the second half, when they cut it to 10 or 11, whatever it was, he's the one that pushed it right back to 15 or 16 on a couple of plays. And so I think he's comfortable in his role. I'm not saying he likes coming off the bench, because I'm not sure anybody would prefer that over a starting role. But I will say that he's totally comfortable in the role in which he has, and it's certainly been a bonus with what he gives us off the bench. It certainly changes things when you can get production off the bench from a perception standpoint. He's definitely done that.
Since the Okie State game, there's been a lot of national chatter about Darryn, and I don't know how much you watch TV or anything. Is it a distraction at all, and has anything that's been said seemed like it's been unfair, or?
It's not a distraction for me as much as it would be for him, and maybe it is for our players. I don't believe it is, though. But for Darryn, obviously, it would be, because I've heard some of the things that were said. That the things that are said nationally, from the perspective in which they say it, is it fair, or is a lot of the things that they said actually true? He hasn't finished games. The reasons why they say he hasn't finished games is 100% false. So at least in 70 to 80% of the reasons why, that with what they've said that I've heard. So I can't say 100% of everything would be false, but that's the narrative that's being put out there. But the bottom line is there is a way to change the narrative. Play, finish. Now, if his body allows him to, fantastic. If it doesn't allow him to, then they'll say something again the next game. But that's the way to get people to quit talking. It's not me saying it's not fair. I don't think that really keeps anybody from having an opinion on it at a national level, or on this level, or any level, to be quite candid. But I do think that it's easy for everybody to say what's happening within a situation that really doesn't know the situation. But don't we all do that? Don't we all have comments on politics, on what positively should be done, and we don't actually know anything about what's really going on and why certain things happen? I mean, that's the way of the world. And those guys are paid, not to talk about our team or Darryn, but they're paid to speak their opinions based on what they know from a sports standpoint. So, I don't know that it's what the basis of what's being said. You can't argue with it. He hasn't finished games consistently. The reasons why he hasn't finished, or he's saving himself, or the NBA, or load management, or that kind of stuff, that to me, that couldn't be more false from that regard.
As his coach, are you convinced he loves the game and he feels badly about it? Well, I'm just going by all the things that flooded the airwaves.
I don't know that we've had a guy that studies the game, has prepared himself for this more so than what Darryn Peterson has. He loves ball. He can't get enough of ball. I think that those are the things that's probably hurtful as much as anything to say those type of things. And nobody's put more time in outside of practice working on their game on an individual level than probably what he has over a lifetime. I don't even think it'd be close. I don't buy those scenarios at all. But there's a way to get rid of those scenarios too. And he knows that, and I know that, and that's what he's going to deal with. If he wasn't a for sure top pick in an NBA draft, regardless of where that is, would anybody even be talking about this in the way in which they are? So maybe they would, but I certainly doubt it.
You talked about a couple weeks ago the big men revolution, a lot of teams playing with two bigs. What do you feel like has led to that becoming now a consistent kind of style in college basketball?
Defensively, length, scoring over length. And if you look at it, still the best scenario to me in which to play, if you're going to play two bigs, is one of them hopefully would be skilled and could stretch it and that kind of stuff. But back when we were playing 3 out, 2 in, and bigs really weren't allowed to shoot much, if there are 3 perimeter players, 2 of them have to be really good 3-point shooters. Now you're going to play 4 round 1, let's say. 3 of the 4 have to be really good perimeter shooters. And then teams that are playing 5 out, a lot of times 4 of the 5 can really stretch it. And there's times that all 5 can stretch it. I think punishing people on the glass, length, defensive rebound. When you look at Michigan, to me, I look at them and I'm saying, well, what is Yaxel? He's a guard. And he just happens to be 6'9.5" or whatever. And the other guys are so big that they create so much problems defensively that you look at Arizona. When you think of Arizona, I think you think of, well, they score the ball and this and that. But how they scored is they just make so many twos that offset the number of threes you make because they can really guard on the other end. I just think you're going to coach to what your personnel tells you should coach to. But the reality of it is our game is so cyclical. And the way that teams played without the shot clock and then people evolving to being one of the best utilizers of the shot clock and the 3-point shot combined. People evolve. And if anybody thinks the game was going to be stuck in playing small ball all the time, that's not it. And the NBA's also doing this. The NBA's playing bigger as well. But the bottom line is, after we go big, don't think for a second and we'll go back to going small. It's just the way the kind of evolves.
And with Bryson and Flory and their partnership, if you think back to the start of the season or the summer, did you anticipate them being a tandem that would play so well and so much together?
I play so much together, absolutely. Play so well together the way we play. I actually thought it would be hard because I didn't think the way we were playing Bryson was probably in Bryson's best interest individually, but it was in our team's best interest. So Bryson has done a great job of fitting in how we played and still being a presence close to the basket. Whereas to start the season, I think you guys would agree he wasn't that. So I got to give a lot of credit to Bryson in making that happen.
Anything else? Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.